So we will have a question break where we'll pause the recording if you'd like to turn on your audio or video to ask a question. And so today we're going to explore exciting hands-on career pathways to good jobs in construction. I wanted to let everyone know that there is a skilled labor shortage in the construction industry. There are not enough people in these jobs to complete all the work that needs to be done in our communities. And we want you to know that young people and women can help fill this demand. A career in construction is just one option for people who would are looking for financial independence, personal fulfillment, and a chance to make a visible impact on their communities. So, we've brought together industry professionals and training providers who work in the field and are dedicated to helping people get started in their construction careers. We will first hear from our guests who will talk about construction and trades and their experiences. Joe will share information about People's Inclusive Welding School. Sam will talk about AFL CIO and the work they do to help people get started in construction. And Brooke will be joining us from the Maine Department of Transportation. And alongside our business partners, we have our knowledgeable vocational rehabilitation staff who are here to facilitate discussions and to introduce you to resources that can help support you on your journey. Liz is our statewide business consultant and will be providing tech support. She'll monitor the chat for questions and comments and will be on standby to assist with any other issues that might come up. Allison and Ian are our statewide vocational rehabilitation transition counselors and will be sharing some resources that you can use to learn about and apply for construction careers. And I'm Amanda, the apprenticeship navigator with vocational rehabilitation, and I'll be sharing some exciting construction opportunities with the Maine apprenticeship program. So, first, what is construction and trade work? What do they do, and why is the work so important? Construction workers build and maintain the world around us, and they're responsible for building our schools, hospitals, libraries, hotels, offices, stores, our roads and bridges, and they build the cars, the trucks, the ATVs, and the snowmobiles that we use every day, and airplanes too. They keep our water running in our homes. They keep the electricity working. They keep our homes warm in the winter and cool in the summer. And these workers are essential, just as important as doctors and nurses. A minute ago, I said that the industry is facing a labor shortage, and this is because the workforce is aging. So the older workers are retiring, and there are not enough people taking their place. And this is why we need young people and women in construction to fill these critical positions. I'm stopping sharing for just a moment to check on our guest speaker. Hang on one second. There's Joe. Can you hear us, Joe?
Yes, so sorry. I had trouble logging in, but I'm here.
Okay, just a moment. Now I'm having technical difficulties too. There we go. Okay. So I'm honored to introduce our first guest speaker, Joe Ramillard, an instructor with People's Inclusive Welding, who will talk to us about the exciting opportunities in welding. And thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day, Joe. Go ahead.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Um, so yeah, I come from, I'm a Boilermaker by trade. I was a field welder for just about 10 years. Um, I was the only femme presenting person in my welding school, and that was pretty much the theme throughout my experience. Um, I found that I was almost always one of the minorities and usually the only femme person. I do use they them pronouns, and identify as trans fluid. Um, and you know, it was definitely a boys club, which with my identity, I felt that I fit in. And so I was able to gain a lot of knowledge and skill. But I always saw the lack of diversity. And in 2020, I left my boiler making job and um, was kind of brainstorming a couple ideas. But my friends who I'd worked with who were from the Congo came to me about opening a school so that when their friends and family came that they could also learn, but they were having trouble starting it. They actually came to me because they couldn't get a lease because anytime they showed up, they just were immediately turned down because they were Black. So they asked me if I could help. And I said, yes, I love this idea. I've thought of it as well. Let's do it. They ended up getting really good paying jobs in Florida, and I was already getting the wheels in motion. So bing, bang, boom, we're 4 years later, and People's Inclusive Welding is doing great. We are a school who is catered towards the quote unquote non traditional demographic. So about 80% of our students are women, and the other 15, uh, or there's 15% people of color and the LGBTQ community, or there's a lot of crossover there. And I would say about 5% make up the quote unquote traditional demographic, which would be straight cis males. Um, we our mission is to help diversify the trades here in Maine, and we are seeing results. Um, Casco Bay Steel, when we first started, I believe had 2 women in employment. They now have around 10, if not a dozen. Um, Multiple of our students have gone to BIW, and there is now an affinity group, like a queer support group at BIW of the students who came from BIW, which I'm so proud of. Um, and there's plenty of our students at different just fabrication jobs here in Maine. So our students are going to work in infrastructure. They're building bridges, they're building boats, they're building HVAC, and fabricating those public toilet bathrooms that you see. Those are from a couple students who who are alumni of ours, and it's just been amazing to watch as we're starting to see the demographics change. I think people can feel safer when someone who comes from a similar background as them is present. So, it was rough at the get-go because we kind of had to say, you're going to be the only one for a little bit, but we're working on it. And thank goodness that those folks were strong enough and equipped to hang tight while other folks came. And it's just been an amazing journey. And the beautiful thing about the trades is now that we're getting on board with the DEI, mission, um, it's all skill based. It doesn't matter what you look like, who you are, your past. You can have a criminal record, um, or it doesn't matter. You in some spots you don't even need a high school diploma. You can, as long as you have the skill, the proof's in the pudding. As long as you have the skill, you can work and make good money and buy a house and a new truck and all of those things. So the trades are where it's at. And I'm just really happy to be able to offer these courses. We have some upcoming courses this winter, and I just hope that more and more folks will just keep joining and keep trucking and making the Maine a safer and better place to work in the trades for those quote unquote non-traditional folks.
Thanks, Joe. Could you just talk for a couple minutes on? I've got some pictures here. If you can talk about what's happening in the pictures, or
Sure.
share a little bit about why welding is important, why welders are needed.
Absolutely. So this is a photo of me doing a demonstration of overhead stick welding. Um, the folks, uh, the folks in there are two of them actually were new Mainers, and now they both are working in construction. Um, welding is crucial to any state, federal level. Basically, there was a big gap in trades trainings. So now what we have is a lot of the old timers are retiring, and there's a huge gap to fill. So we need to get people in there while the old timers are still there to be able to teach. Otherwise, we're going to be starting from square one, and that's no good. And the thing is, the pay rate has gone up because of the demand. These pictures are from the same class. On the left, Gabby, she's killing it. She became a foreman at Casco Bay Steel, and now she is. I know she's tiny, she's so small, but she will tell you what's up. She's a hot shit for sure. She just got a new job, better pay, better benefits at Prescott Metal in Biddeford, which she's pumped about. And then on the right side, the one in the pink hoodie is working at BIW. She's the one who started the affinity group. And then Gabby's in the one who's welding. And then Kat, I believe, is working. I know she got a really cool job somewhere, but I can't remember the name of the company. But everyone there is killing it, and it's very exciting to see. This was their first big project that they built. They completely fabricated that entire fire pit. So it was really fun to watch them. We've got on the left Tamar. That's his final project. It was possibly the most beautiful final project I've had. Tamar was like, he had never welded before, and he was an artist. He sculpted these beautiful pieces. That weld hood that he's welding on is made from two pieces of metal that he sculpted. And it was just like staggering how talented he was. Alexis on the right started at Casco Bay Steel. She now works for Pickle Robot in Boston. She makes like twice as much money as I do. I'm always seeing photos of her on vacation. So she's doing great. Super proud of her. And what you see there is, Tamar is TIG welding and Alexis is overhead welding. And then this was a really amazing group. This was last fall, and we actually worked with this group with the elevator union. And the recruiter there worked really hard to get all of them placed. So the elevator union has a rank system, and there's actually a pretty gruesome test you have to take. But Sierra on the left placed 6th out of the whole state. I know that they only ranked 100 people out of I would say probably 500 people. And then 2 over, so Sierra, Julia, then Liz. Liz placed 4th, and she actually just started with them this past week. And the starting rate for the elevator union is $34 an hour. It is the white elephant of unions. It is the best paying trade, and it's really exciting that they both ranked so high, and they'll have a career they're going to retire as millionaires. No big deal. Oh, this was a great course too. I forgot all the pictures I sent you. This course was all women and queer people. This is a photo from, I believe we were featured on Channel 6. Yes, that was when we were featured on Channel 6. And this was one of the earlier classes. Heather right in the front there with the green jacket. She's been boiler making like me, following in her pop's footsteps. And the other two, I don't think Hannah went into welding. I think she got married and stayed in the service industry by choice. But Millie has actually been one of our teachers and was running night classes with us. So yeah, it's just been success story after success story of these folks moving on up and making killer money, and showing up with a new truck. It's just been really awesome. Yes, this is our upcoming training. It's an initiative to for the More Maine Tradeswomen Initiative. I may have coined that. I'm not sure yet, but in line with Governor Mills to pull more women into the trades, we decided, hey, let's do a training. Partnered with the AFL-CIO. I will say that this course is currently full. Um, it and it it filled up fast, especially with the stipend. And we're hoping to do this training with a stipend twice a year. Um, it may not necessarily always be just for women, but certainly that's part of the Tradeswomen Initiative, and we're super excited about it.
Thanks, Joe. And this class is full, but that does not mean that if someone wants to uh, receive welding training at People's Inclusive Welding, they can't get it. Can you?
Absolutely. No, we have a 10-week course coming up starting in January, and that class is not full. And um we we have a sliding well we have a lot of scholarship options. We work closely with solutions through Goodwill, with FedCap, and we're starting to talk more now with Voc Rehab and CSSP. So there are scholarship opportunities, absolutely. um, and in partnering with the AFL-CIO, they really want to see folks. They don't want to see, and same with us, it's part of our mission to not have the funding be a barrier. So we do whatever we can to make sure that someone who wants to learn the trade can.
Thanks, Joe. I
Absolutely.
wanted to pause the recording and pause sharing to.
Little differently.
Absolutely. The beauty of welding is that everything is a custom job. So we can customize your welding booth exactly how you need it. Um, and we've done, we have a lefty booth, we have a wheelchair accessible booth. But when folks come in who might need to sit down the whole time, we can lower everything, and we got plenty of seats here. Um, and we have a nice leather apron you can wear so you don't burn your legs. And anything that we need to do to make your booth fit you, we can do it. Um, so, and I'm a student myself every single day as much as I'm instructing. So I always want to know people's best way to learn. What is your learning style? And just tell me, and I want to figure that out. So I am open for anything and everything. And welders, we make it work. So we will figure it out.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
There was another
How,
question.
how intensive are the classroom requirements? The courses are it's a full day. It's an 8-hour day. Just like when you're going to go to work. We start at 8 and we end at 4. We do have 3 breaks which add up to an hour, so you're only working for a total of 7 hours during the day. Um, we just recently changed the schedule to 4 days a week, so you have Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. And it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 8 to 4 p.m., which is a total of 32 hours a week for 10 weeks. Can training be done hands-on? Training can only be done hands-on. They do have like some new technology where you can Bluetooth weld, but I've tried it. It's not the same. It's not the same. Nope. You got to come here. You got to be able to hear. You have to, a big part of welding is listening, feeling, smelling, um, and seeing everything that you're doing. So yeah, it is hands-on. It is not a virtual course.
Any other questions for Joe?
I think one question I get pretty often is, what do you need to bring? We provide all necessary PPE except for boots. And you will be required to wear a safety-toed boot in the course at all times. Other than that, you're welcome to bring your own welding hood or your own gloves, but we have that stuff here if you need it.
Thanks, Joe. And I know that we don't have enough time today to talk about everything there is to know about welding and people's inclusive welding. But at the end of the slide, I have instructions on how to learn more. And we can always answer your questions at another time. Joe,
Absolutely. And I'm always, if I'm here and someone wants to come by and see the shop and see what we're up to, just shoot me a line anytime.
thank you, Joe. Really appreciate you being here. You're welcome to stay for as long as you can, but I know that you've got other classes to teach.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I
Thank
appreciate this, and
you.
hopefully I'll see some of y'all in the future. All right. Have a great rest of your day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, I'm going to share the slides again to introduce our next guest speaker, Sam Boss, who is the Apprenticeship Workforce and Equity Director with Maine AFL-CIO, which is a state federation of over 200 local labor unions representing over 42,000 working men and women and retirees across the state. Sam, thanks for joining us.
It's my pleasure to be here. I'm really excited to have the opportunity to talk to you today about our Union Construction Academy pre-apprenticeship program and apprenticeships. Before I do that, though, I'd like to just kind of piggyback off of some of the things that Joe talked about and some of the things that you talked about, Amanda, just to kind of set the stage for why folks should consider careers in the trades and the construction industry, because I think there's a tendency still for a lot of people to think the only pathway into a good job and something that's going to be fulfilling and that's going to actually, be a lucrative career is to go to college and maybe, get a advanced degree, become a doctor or a lawyer. That's sort of like the gold standard that people think of. But it doesn't have to be that way. You can get really fulfilling work in building and construction trades. And those are jobs that we absolutely need people for. They're jobs that can't be outsourced. They're jobs that can't easily be automated. And they're jobs that we need if we're going to build clean energy infrastructure, if we're going to, fix roads and bridges, all these big federal projects that we have coming in. That work can't get done if we don't have the people to do it. And so if you're in high school and you're thinking about, okay, what are the opportunities that I have? What are some possibilities that are in front of me? Consider opportunities in the trades, because you never know what might be a fit with your skills and interests, and how that could benefit you as you move forward with your career. So just as you think about that, I just make a pitch about a couple of different things that you could consider as you as you think about the benefits of going into a trade. First is, if you've ever done a project at home and you like working with your hands, if you've seen the problem solving that goes into that, if you've had that satisfaction of, seeing a job well done and actually being able to, put your name on something that you did, like whether it's putting up a wall in your house or just doing a paint job, it feels really good to have accomplished something like that. And as you get more skilled, as you develop those problem solving skills, you start to, really build on that sense of accomplishment and recognize how much you're capable of. So that's just something to, get you thinking about this as a career opportunity. It's a really rewarding field to go into. So you might be thinking, if you haven't done a lot of projects with your hands at home, or, you just feel like you don't have that much experience, you might be thinking, how would I get into this? I would say if you have opportunities to take classes at your high school, that's great, but you don't have to in order to get into trades after you graduate. And one of the opportunities that we offer is pre-apprenticeship and apprenticeship. So apprenticeship is kind of like college for the trades. It's an opportunity to get paid to learn a skill from people that have expertise, that have gone through an apprenticeship, that have spent thousands of hours working, who have gone through classes, have developed their expertise with skilled mentors who can help you to develop that same skill set. They're there to teach you, but as you're getting that experience, you're also getting paid. And this is something that I think about a lot as somebody who went the college track and got advanced degrees. I had to pay for all of that, and I had to take out student debt for that. That can be a great track, don't get me wrong, but apprenticeship is really wonderful in the sense that you get paid and you're developing your skills as you're out on the job. You're getting benefits, you're getting healthcare access. If you're part of a union, you start putting money into a pension, which is going to help you in retirement to lead a comfortable life and ensure that you don't have to work until you're 75 in order to have a quality of life when you retire. So that's apprenticeship. We've known for a long time that those are great opportunities, but unfortunately, it's kind of a well-kept secret, or at least it has been for a while. And so one of the things that we're trying to do is break it up so that it's not just people that had a connection with our building and construction trades unions already, who may have had a brother or an uncle or somebody who told them, yeah, you can go get paid to become a plumber, you can get paid to learn the skills of becoming an electrician. Now we're trying to break it up so that everybody has that opportunity. Women, people of color, folks with disabilities, people who have, just been bouncing around in low-wage jobs, maybe working in the service sector and retail jobs, that are looking for a better opportunity to lift themselves up and improve their lives. We're trying to reach out to those folks to provide that opportunity to get into a trade, to get that set of foundational skills that they need in order to be successful once they go out to work. So one of the things that we often see is people reach out to us and they'll say, I'd like to be an apprentice. I really like the idea of getting into a trade, but I just don't know what to do. Like I've heard about the work of electricians. Maybe I've had to hire a plumber because I had a pipe burst, or I've seen what carpenters do. That seems like fun, but it's really hard to know, what you're actually going to like until you've had a chance to try it. So our Union Construction Academy pre-apprenticeship program gives folks from those underrepresented backgrounds an opportunity to try out hands-on skills, get industry recognized certifications like OSHA 10, your basic safety training, first aid, CPR. You learn how to do some welding, you learn how to do some electrical work, you do some carpentry, pour concrete. You get a bunch of these hands-on skills and certifications that are going to help you get a sense of, here's what I'd like to do after I finish this 4-week intensive program. I have you should leave with a much clearer sense of what the opportunities are and what you're actually going to like. Some people come in wanting to be welders and they say, I'd like to be an iron worker. But if you don't like working up at heights, working on setting out the iron for a skyscraper isn't going to be the right job for you. But you might, if you don't mind working in confined spaces, you might like being a plumber or a pipe fitter. So those are the kinds of things that we try to introduce people to by giving them an opportunity to try it for themselves. If you want to go ahead, this particular slide I can explain. This is a group that we had earlier this summer. They had built some frames and attached drywall to it. And this was a training that took place at the Carpenters Hall in Portland. So it was a great opportunity. A lot of those folks had never swung a hammer before. And so they had an opportunity to, use some of the different tools that carpenters would try or would use. And they got to try that and see that it was something that they liked. And a couple of people in that class went on to become carpenters. So that was kind of a nice taste for them. If you want to advance the slide. This is a graduating class that we had from earlier this winter. And go ahead to the next one. This is an all-women's cohort. As you saw from some of the previous slides, we often have mixed cohorts with people from all different backgrounds, but we also offer women's cohorts in order to provide an environment where people feel really supported by other women, other folks who are looking to get into an industry where they are historically underrepresented. As I mentioned before, the construction industry hasn't always had the best representation. It's been very heavily male dominated for a long time, but as with the work that Joe is doing, we're also trying to break that up, because there's a lot of talented folks out there that have a lot to offer the construction industry. And, you can't meet the staffing needs of the current jobs out there if you're only drawing from half the population. So we're trying to provide that opportunity for women to get into the trades. And they've just done a fantastic job, the women that have come through our programs. And it's really satisfying to see just the camaraderie that they've developed and how much they've supported each other as they've gone out into the field. You want to go ahead, Amanda? These are a couple more things that folks got to try learning hands-on. I've mentioned a couple of trades that you might think of, like plumbers and pipe fitters, electricians, carpenters, but there are a lot of trades that people wouldn't think of. Basically, if you're in a school building right now, if you look around and you see sprinklers, if you see tiles on the ceiling, or paint or drywall, whatever it might be, somebody had to do that. And basically all of those different components of a building have a trade and a trade union that specializes in doing that work. So in the picture on the left, you see members of the painters union with a mobile training unit they have where they practice sandblasting, and it's the kind of thing that they would do to strip paint off of bridges as they prepare to put on a new coat. At right, you see that's a training at the ironworkers, where they're learning to cut and burn different iron plates for different projects that the ironworkers would do, building bridges or setting up the steel for large buildings. If you want to go ahead. This is a couple of folks doing exothermic welding, which is a process of binding two metals together using fire, basically. And it's a pretty cool skill that the electricians union teaches them to do, and they get a certification as they go through that. Go ahead. And we've had some real success stories from folks who have come through our program. They're folks who are, in many cases, we've had folks coming from other countries who have a lot of construction experience or even advanced degrees in things like civil engineering. Like the gentleman on the left had 10 years of welding experience in Angola. The woman on the right had a civil engineering degree from Uganda. They ended up working on a solar farm up in Leeds for the course of the summer, and were great contributors to that effort after they'd had a hard time finding staff to fill those roles. Go ahead. This is another one of our program graduates, Chloe Arsenault, who's talking with potential workers at a job fair that we held recently. And Chloe's been a great advocate for us. Her father was an iron worker, actually, and she's one of the only women on her job site in some cases. But she said that she's had a really positive experience and is really working hard to bring more women into the trade and create opportunities for other folks. This individual, I really love this picture. The individual on the left is Cam King, and he is hard of hearing, completely deaf in one ear, and he did our training program back in February. His father was a UPS driver, so a part of that, the Teamsters Union, and he was interested, Cam was interested in getting into a union job, but he'd kind of been turned away from different opportunities once folks realized that he was hard of hearing. And he went through our pre-apprenticeship program, did a fantastic job. He excelled in everything. Like we made some accommodations to ensure that he would be able to hear, that he would be able to receive the materials that we were working with written out, so that he could, hear, kind of see them again if he didn't hear something the first time. He connected with a job at Portsmouth Naval Shipyard and is now working to repair nuclear submarines down there. And he's making really good money as he does it, and really loves it. He has a community of other folks who are hard of hearing down there. He has transportation that's provided by the shipyard. So he's just doing a great job, and seems really happy with the outcome from going through this program and getting connected with the kinds of supports that we try to provide people with. As I mentioned before, we've been working really hard to bring more women into our programs. One of the things that we do is we try to ensure that our program has women represented as instructors and as speakers. And this woman here is actually the president of the Metal Trades Council that oversees 20 different metal trades unions at Portsmouth Naval Shipyard. Again, building nuclear submarines, pretty sophisticated technology, as you might imagine. And she's, risen into that role of being the president of the union in a very short amount of time. And it's really inspiring for folks to hear from her and hear about her pathway into that leadership position. And it's also great for them to see that there's a woman in a leadership role who's going to be their advocate. And that's something I haven't talked a lot about, how unions work. Maybe some folks have an understanding of that and some folks don't. But basically, if you're part of a union, you have representation on your job site. You have a group of fellow workers that are advocating for wages, for benefits, for safety conditions, and you get to have a voice in that. And you get to choose who your leaders are, who are going to represent you when it comes to negotiations with your employer about what your contract is going to look like. And so in the case of Portsmouth Naval Shipyard, $1 billion plus military facility, we have Elena Schaefer, who's the president of that Metal Trades Council that's overseeing all those different union workers and kind of representing their interests in negotiations. So there's a lot of leadership opportunities in addition to the work that you're doing with your hands as a member of those unions. And I think I might have one or two more. This is a great picture. Actually, that's Joe at People's Inclusive Welding. We've partnered with Joe quite a bit and, had really great luck teaching folks, welding skills and getting them ready for opportunities with metal trades. And go ahead to the next slide. One of the other things that we love to do is bring graduates back to our program. So the gentleman in the orange is actually one of our graduates, and he is coming back to just kind of share his experiences and what's allowed him to be successful in the field. So I'll stop there. Oh, there's another one. It's another apprentice that came through the electricians union, talking to our pre-apprentices about keys to success. So I will leave it there and try to give you guys some opportunities for questions. But, really glad to have the opportunity to share a little bit about building and construction trades union apprenticeships.
Thank you, Sam. I think I see a couple things. Can you help, Liz?
All right, somebody would like to know how long is the webinar, and Ian answered an hour and a half. Is there a website to see information? So Sam Boss, is there a website that you can share to offer more information?
Absolutely, I'll put that down in the chat here. And we have sessions coming up next year in Portland, Lewiston, and Newport. The Newport session will be an all-women session, and the Portland and Lewiston sessions will be open to everybody. And I'll put the application link for that down in the chat as well.
Thank you, Sam. I'd like to add, this is Liz from Vocational Rehabilitation. If you are working with vocational rehabilitation or the Bureau of Rehabilitation Services, or if you are working closely with somebody in the Career Center, please ask how you might be able to get to one of these locations if you're worried that location is a barrier. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. Okay, any questions for Sam? Sam will need to leave the webinar because he's very busy. So if you had any last questions, please ask now. If you have questions about AFL-CIO or construction. Okay. Liz?
I always have something. I just wanted to check, Sam, could you give us an idea of, and maybe you already covered it, but if I'm a woman and I have never done anything industrial before. I've never attempted this. How could I try it out? How could I know? How could I learn a little bit more to maybe jump in the field? Because maybe I'd be great, but maybe I have no idea.
Yeah, I would say pre-apprenticeship is a great starting place for those who don't have any previous experience. So I would say apply to the Union Construction Academy. The biggest things that we're looking for are not experience in working in the trades necessarily. A lot of times I talk to our apprenticeship directors for the different unions that we partner with, and they say it's easier to work with folks who have a kind of blank slate, because then they don't have to teach them how to get rid of bad habits. The biggest things that you can bring are a good attitude. You show up on time every day, and on time is late in the construction industry. Early is on time. So you got to be ready to go. And if you're reliable, if you're hardworking and you're curious, those are the biggest things that people are looking for. Everything else, all of the training, everything like that, they'll give that to you as you get out to work. It helps if you have a little bit of math skill, or at least not a total fear about math, because math does come up in construction quite a bit. But even that's something that we work with folks on, and there's a place for people that have different skill levels with that. Absolutely. So biggest things, like you put in the chat, Elizabeth, are good attitude, arrive early, and just be willing to give things a shot.
Thank you.
Okay, that was awesome, Sam. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thanks for the opportunity to share a little bit about our program.
Oh, absolutely. Have a good one.
You too.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to put the slides back up so that I can introduce our next speaker. Okay, next, we are thrilled to hear from Brooke Glidden. She is the Assistant Transportation Engineer with the Maine Department of Transportation. Are you able to come off of mute?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Perfect. Hi, I have a slideshow. It's just pictures. Do you want me to share my screen or?
Oh, sure.
Okay,
I'm going to stop, and then do you have capabilities of sharing?
I think so.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So my name is Brooke Glidden, and I started out in construction right out of college, or my first year in college, but in high school, I'll kind of piggyback off what Sam said. In high school, I wanted to make money so I thought going to college, going for civil engineering was the best way for me to make money. And it was great. It helped. But once I got into college and into civil engineering and started working in construction, it really opened my eyes into how much more some of these construction people make than a civil engineer does. I mean, the opportunities are endless for anyone that wants to get into this field. I started because I reached out to some people in DOT, and was able to become a construction inspector. But where I started, I had no college degree whatsoever. So it was just a high school diploma. And I started out on highway paving projects. And it was just following a paver and helping the other inspectors above me. Once I went through college, I was able to go up the line, but you don't need to. There are people that I work with that don't have a college degree when I was in construction, that just like Sam said, hard work, showing up on time, willing to try, willing to learn, being respectful, was what helped get them up the ladder. When I was in construction, right now I have a I have a desk job. But when I spent 9 years in construction and when I was there, it was showing up early, getting my notes ready for the day, and finding out what the construction crew was doing. I didn't actually do a lot of the hammer swinging, but I was right there next to them. So construction's hard. It's very laborious. And for me, I was out there next to them, so I witnessed how hard it was. But it's very rewarding as well. Some of the other projects that I've been on were box culverts. And like I said, the person running this crane, making very good money. These guys right here that are helping, also making wonderful money. This was a bridge project. Again, also doing what I did in construction, it brought me to a lot of different areas in the state of Maine that I normally wouldn't have been in. Coming to this project every morning, I don't know if any of you are familiar with Dew Haven, but this bridge is very close to where that is. So I would arrive early every morning, and my favorite part was stepping outside, and some mornings I could hear the lion roar at Dew Haven. So it was, I mean, you don't get that with other jobs. So that was pretty neat. But they're getting ready to pour the concrete deck in these pictures. The picture on the left, they actually are pumping the concrete to the deck. The picture on the right was in preparation to it. This is another bridge project I was on. This just shows construction isn't always sunny and 70. That is one of the challenges with construction, is that especially if you're going to be doing highway bridge construction like I did, you're going to be in the elements. You're going to be in the snow, you're going to be in the rain, you're going to be in the wind. So that is something you do kind of have to prepare for a little bit. If you're going into what Joe talked about with the welding, then that's a little bit more protected. But there's all kinds of different avenues for construction you can go into. This was demoing, the middle picture was demoing the bridge, and the top right picture was just doing some pier repairs. This was another bridge project. This was actually up in Rangeley, Maine. So again, you go from I worked from Kittery to Abbott to Rangeley and many other places in between, but you don't get many jobs that will put you on a beautiful lake in summer. This one, they were drilling to put the rock anchors and getting ready for the abutments. And then, of course, my favorite project of all was the Sarah Mildred Long Bridge project. And this project I spent the most amount of time on. And if getting women in construction is huge, like they said, if you're only going for the men, you're only getting half the population. On this project, I met some amazing women. There were over 100 people on this project, and there's a handful of them that I'm still friends with to this day. They are just amazing role models in what they've done, and they're superintendents, they're in charge, they're project managers, they're absolutely amazing. So getting your foot in the door and getting on a project, we're a pretty cool club, us women in construction. You all gravitate towards each other, and we all became friends. There was, I think, 5 to 6 of us on the site, and out of 100 people, we were very close knit. I did not get close to a lot of the other people on the project site, but I was very close with the woman. These are just pictures of the top left is the bridge in the very early stages with the old bridge still in the background. The top right is the bridge, I guess closer to half, maybe a little over halfway done. And then the bottom picture is it totally done, and you're seeing that large ship travel through it. So again, being outside, seeing a lot of stuff that I'm not going to see on other jobs. This was, like I said, by far my favorite project. And these are just more additional pictures of it. My part on this project was the tower. So if I go back to these, on the bottom picture there, you see the tall towers. That was the part I was involved in. Each person has their own piece to the puzzle when it comes to construction. So if you're in a school, like Sam said, you've got the drywall, the electrical, the sprinkler system. Each person has their own piece to that puzzle. This was just the steps to the making the tower. It came into like a big puzzle. That's all it was. Lego blocks, I called them. You had the reinforcing that goes into the yellow forms on the top left. The bottom left was the pump truck pouring the concrete, and then the picture on the right was the finished product where they were lifting it up out of the forms. And then, like Joe had said, with having being on News Center 6, they also featured us. So if there's any interest, you look up this article. This is myself and another female on the project who is, again, she's a project manager now and one of my best friends. So you're more than welcome to go look at that and watch that little news clip. And that's all. I can go back to any pictures if there's any interest. But was there I guess, are there any, I went through pretty fast. Are there any questions?
I have a question. This is Amanda.
Yep.
What are box culverts?
They are big, you know, the round culverts that go under a road or under a driveway? They are just big structures. They're not quite a bridge, but it's like, this is a box.
Okay, then water travels under them.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
got it.
They have done some where wildlife travels. They're wildlife crossings too.
Very cool.
So yeah, I mean, it's the amazing things I've seen in my years in construction. I miss it every day.
I did hear a story recently about something to do with fish in Phillips, that the DOT had to build some structure to make sure they weren't harming the fish, which was interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, this picture on the right here, the stream bed, that's all for fish passage and wildlife passage, to make sure that roads aren't just for people.
Liz has a question.
Yes.
Hello, Brooke. If I'm traveling on these construction sites, where do I sleep? What does that look like?
So it depends on how far it is from where you're traveling from. A lot of the highway projects, because they're more roads and then bridges, they were close enough to where I live in central Maine, so they were like 20 minutes to 45 minutes to my house. I think the furthest one I've traveled back and forth every day was an hour, and that was a lot. But for the one down in Sarah Mildred Long, my company paid for a hotel for me to stay in too. So some construction companies, you can report to their office, their main office, if it's within a reasonable traveling distance, and you can carpool. They'll have their company vehicles that will carpool. I believe BIW does that. They have carpool vans so you don't have to drive every day. You can ride in a carpool van. But for me on this project, I was put up in a hotel. And a lot of the other workers there as well were also put up their company paid for them to stay in a hotel.
Awesome. Any questions for Brooke? Liz?
Hi, it's me again. So I'm a mom and I'm a daughter. And if I want to jump into the construction trade, which I know is high wage and in demand and has some really exciting features, how do you navigate that as a woman? How do you navigate that with family responsibilities? What are some tips and tools that you would share?
So it's hard. I am a mother of 3, so life is very busy. If you're a good hard worker, you will be wanted by construction companies. So if you have family, thankfully, a lot of companies now, a lot of good companies, are understanding, so they can work with you. And it's not just for mothers too. on the Sarah Mildred Long Bridge project, they were fathers too, who were managing, well, I've got to leave early today because I have to pick up my kid from school, or I have to pick them up from daycare. But for me, I worked with some great project residents who worked with me, and I worked my schedule around daycare, and when my kids could work. So there are some reasonable people to work for out there. You don't want to work for someone who's not willing to work with you. But yeah, I mean, I also, I don't know what stage all of you are in, but for me, I was working construction when I became pregnant with my first child and went out on maternity leave and then returned. And again, you can't do everything while you're pregnant. And when I returned, I was nursing my daughter, so I was pumping, and they can't tell you you can't do that when you return back to work. So making sure that you have a clean place to pump when you return to work is required of the company. So I was able to do that.
Brooke, it's Liz again. Thank you so much. For many of us, I personally, I'm a 58-year-old woman. I never envisioned the field of construction for myself. And listening to you talk and listening to you share that you are a mom, you have 3 children, you've figured this out, you've made it work, and you've demanded from the company that you work for that they respect your choices and appreciate your family. I am just so thrilled for women that may be thinking, how does this work for me? How can I get into a high wage, in-demand job and have it all? So thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you, Brooke.
You're so welcome.
Any
Thank you
last
for having
questions
me.
for Brooke? Oh, absolutely. Thanks for being here. We have a lot of other content to go over, so we're going to breeze right through it. Brooke, you are welcome to stay on for the rest of the presentation, but I know you're busy. So if you have to leave, we totally understand.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brooke. Okay, I'm going to share my screen again. Okay, Allison is going to share some resources for career exploration. Allison, briefly, please show us what you got.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Allison. And even though Ian and my job title is super long, the reason that we're here today is super easy to explain. Our job is to help young people explore and really dig into the world of work. We want to help people find what work is really best for them. That means that we teach job readiness skills in job clubs. We go on college bus tours, apprenticeship tours. We participate in job tours, job shadows, informational interviews. Basically, we want you to have access to all the tools so you can be your own exploration specialist. And that's why I've put this map and that title on my slide, because some of the resources we're going to give you today will help you really get started. So we want to fill your construction toolbox. So really briefly, here are 4 super resources to help you get started right away. I'm going to talk about the Maine labor market, which is a lot of data about everything to do with work. Amanda will talk about the Explornado, that is the Get My Future app. Ian will talk briefly about the Maine Job Link, which is where you go when you're ready to apply. And we'll talk about the Career Center, where you can sign up and find out all about hiring events. Okay, so you've got questions. You want to know how much education, training, how much money will I make? How many jobs are in my area? The answer is right here. The Maine labor market information for students. Okay, so it's super easy. There are 3 basic steps. Pick your area that you want to learn about. You've got 4 choices that are listed right here. Step 2, you're going to go and find your career cluster. There are 16 separate career clusters, but for today, we're talking about architecture and construction. Then after you select that, you'll go to step 3, and you're so tempted to click that big green button, but instead stop and explore some CTE education that's right in your area. It'll list it out by school and the program that they carry so that you can get into some of those programs. You click that go button, you're brought to this beautiful bubble page. Each bubble represents a specific occupation within the career. Color is education needed. And you can also search occupations by how many people are employed, or you can go to the bottom left and look up the annual salary, or on the bottom right, you can look at the openings, the job openings in that field. If you click on the bubble, it's going to give you a title and description. So lots and lots of useful information. The QR code is right there, so feel free to explore and till your heart's content. Thanks, Amanda.
Thank you, Allison. So, I want to talk just for a minute about the Get My Future page on the Career One Stop website. One excellent resource or tool for you is the career interest assessment. This is what the homepage looks like. It's got these nice big buttons for you to get started. You click on find a career I like, and you can start a quick interest assessment. It's really easy. It's kind of fun to take. It's only 3 pages long. And you can answer the questions by the activity. Do you think that activity is cool, or do you think it sounds really boring or tedious? You'll answer those. Click next, and when you finish, you will be given a list of job matches, career matches, and you can separate them by how much training it needs. If you're like, well, I don't mind going to school for 4 years if it means I'll make good money, then you can look over uh, high preparation or extensive preparation, or you can look at careers that require little to no or some preparation. And then let's go to the next page. You can search for your career of interest in the top right search box. And when you click on it, it will take you to that job. And then you can look for job postings, and you'll click on it. It'll show job postings in Maine, and then you can actually identify open positions, and it'll give you, you click on how to apply, and it gives you instructions on how to apply, whether it's through email on their website, or you can call them. And Ian's going to talk to you in a minute about this Maine Job Link resource. Go ahead, Ian.
Good morning. My name's Ian. I work alongside Allison at VR. I'm Batman to her Superman, so to speak. And today I'm going to be talking about Maine Job Link. I might need help. Thank you very much. So when you get started, you're going to create an account. You're going to plug in some of your personal information. Social security number, you're going to confirm it. For obvious reasons, I will not be sharing mine. You're also going to create a username, make sure to keep it professional, as well as having an email, phone number. And this is just so that you can be contacted. Anytime you make an application for anywhere, you want to be able to be easily contacted. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time. Next step, when you're actually looking for jobs, you're going to type in your keyword for the job market you're looking for. You're going to type in your location and then a radius. You can type in zip code, town you live in, whatever works for you. Then you just hit search. And down at the bottom, there should be a list of jobs that should match your interest. They're going to have when it was posted, the wage, when it expires. That's something to really keep track of. Otherwise, it could be a good job, but if the expiration date's already passed, you're not going to be able to get it. So just something to keep an eye on. The nice thing about Maine Job Link 2, they have right at the left-hand side a calendar and a list of events going on at all the different career centers and other opportunities. And I don't think it's hyperbole saying Maine Job Link is probably the #1 preferred way for the career center when it comes to applications. And if you are ever locked outside of your account for Maine Job Link, it's super easy to get it back. Just a quick call to the career center, that's whatever's closest to you, and they will activate your account. It took me about a minute when I lost access to mine, so it is very easy. And get notified, enter your email address, and they will send you alerts to your email address whenever they have something cooking. So a lot to offer.
Thanks, Ian. I know we went through that really fast, but this information is easy to get. I'll have some instructions on who to contact, which will be your Voc Rehab counselor or the career centers, to learn more and about these resources. And I wanted to talk a bit about the Maine apprenticeship program. I'm Amanda Muller. I'm the apprenticeship navigator for vocational rehab. And so there's different ways of getting into the field of construction. You can take classes at a local community college or a vocational school. You can go straight to work as a helper or a laborer and then learn as you go. And then another way is through apprenticeship. And Sam Boss from AFL-CIO mentioned apprenticeship earlier, but I'm going to go into a little bit more detail on what apprenticeship is. So, as he said, you're getting paid to learn. So, an apprenticeship is a paid job where you are really starting from scratch. You're learning the valuable skills for whatever that occupation is. There are lots of construction resources for apprenticeship, but construction is not the only type of job in apprenticeship, but it fits perfectly. So, as a apprentice, you are learning valuable skills. You are working under a mentor who is teaching you how to do the job and supporting you in your learning. You're also taking classes, as you've seen in the pictures earlier. Of we call that related technical instruction, but they're related classroom instruction. You earn raises as an apprentice the more you learn, and the more hard work you put in. You earn certifications that are related to your job, and you're getting good pay and benefits. So we see that apprenticeship positions pay more than non-apprenticeship positions. So who's apprenticeship for? Not everybody, but for anyone who is motivated, they're a hands-on learner and they want to go straight to work rather than do like a 2-year or 4-year college program. They would like to really start working and learning right away. They really want to learn an important skill. They want to make good money and a good living for themselves. And they don't mind working hard. They know essentially what kind of job they want. So this is Matt. He completed an aquaculture apprenticeship at Ferta Farms. That's an oyster farm in Brunswick. And so Maine's actually the first state to develop an aquaculture apprenticeship program. Aquaculture is essentially aquatic farming. So you are breeding, raising, and harvesting aquatic animals or organisms like fish, shellfish, and seaweed for to sell to stores and restaurants. And earlier, Allison mentioned company tours. So over the summer, vocational rehab, we invited high school students on a tour of Ferta Farms. And so we learned about the phases of the oyster life. We learned how do they raise and harvest the oysters? How do they separate the good oysters from the bad oysters, and how to shuck the oysters. And we got to taste some too. So you can also go on job tours. So talk to your vocational rehab counselor if you're interested in doing a job tour or a job shadow or an informational interview with a company. Over the summer, we also went on a tour of Industrial Roofing Company in Lewiston. And here's some students. They tried on the harnesses and they learned about fall safety. They took a tour of the facility, got to learn all about the work that they do and their awesome training program. This is Sabrina. She's an apprentice bridge carpenter with Reed and Reed. She started by taking a class in carpentry where she learned the skills of the job, and then she went on to work. So she's getting paid. She's got an awesome career. You know, we need more people in Maine like Sabrina to build and maintain our bridges so that we can get where we want to go. Maine is also home to Bath Iron Works, which is one of the most prominent American companies that builds ships for the US Navy. BIW has shipbuilder apprenticeships. There's lots of different jobs at BIW. And BIW hires women. Electricians, that's a growing apprenticeship that's one of the fastest growing apprenticeships occupations in Maine. Solar technicians are also electricians, and that is also fast growing. They assemble, wire, and install solar panels, which are becoming a lot more popular than ever before. People want solar panels so that they can reduce their electricity bills, increase the value of their homes, be more friendly to the environment. So there's a lot of opportunity for solar technicians. Just a couple pictures of welders. You've seen a few of these with while Joe was presenting. These are some pictures of female apprentices and carpenters working for Maine Passive House in Bethel. They're building homes. And really quickly, Sam Boss earlier mentioned pre-apprenticeship. So there are other pre-apprenticeship programs. But what essentially pre-apprenticeship is, it's a training program to prepare someone to enter an apprenticeship. So they get to learn about the job, they get to do some job shadowing or some hands-on practice doing this work, those work skills. They do company tours. They are learning the essential skills for construction and other trades or other careers. They're earning certificates. They get to practice interview skills so that they can interview with a company. A lot of times they're guaranteed an interview, which is great. You have to be 16 or older to do a pre-apprenticeship. So these are some students in the summer construction pre-apprenticeship with Associated General Contractors. They visited some construction sites. They got to try out welding, bricklaying, carpentry. In this image, there are two pre-apprentices in excavators, and they're learning how to operate the excavators, and they're actually playing tic-tac-toe side by side with these large metal pieces so that they can learn how to accurately move the arm of the excavator. So that's really cool. And I want to show you Jill's story. Jill completed a construction trades pre-apprenticeship at her high school, and then she went on to become an electrician apprentice with the Augusta Electrical Union. And so she said that this may be a good option for other students who are looking to move forward in their career while gaining school credits and getting certifications early. This program gives you the opportunity to see what options there are in trades and can help you get a head start in whichever trade you choose. Here's another image of some pre-apprentice students hanging out on a construction job site on one of the large, heavy equipment. Sam already spoke a bit about Cam or Cameron, so I will just say briefly that he completed the AFL-CIO pre-apprenticeship, and now he's landed an awesome job at Portsmouth Naval Shipyard. And if you want to know more about apprenticeship and apprenticeship opportunities, visit our website. It's at apprenticeship.maine.gov. And you can click on for career seekers. And when you scroll down, there's an interactive map and a search tool where you can search by occupation, company, zip code. You can search by county, and you can actually click on the box that says type, and you can choose apprenticeship or pre-apprenticeship and see what opportunities come up. Keep in mind that just because a company is listed here does not automatically mean that they are hiring. So if you are interested in apprenticeship, if you're a client of vocational rehabilitation, speak with your counselor. Um, they can help you explore careers, set up job tours, help with interview preparation, resume, and interview skills. You can also reach out to me directly, amanda.muller@maine.gov. You can visit the website. You can go to your local career center to get more information on apprenticeships. And with that, any questions? I'm going to stop share. I went really quickly because I wanted to make sure there was time. So I apologize for that. Was there anything you needed me to repeat or any questions you had? So right now, if you are a student in high school and you are interested in a construction pre-apprenticeship, there will be summer training opportunities. There are trainings over the summer where you are learning skills in the classroom, and you're also learning skills. I've showed you the images, hands-on training, and you get paid a stipend. They pay you weekly to attend these classes. So you're also getting those certifications. So it's really a great use of your time if you want to explore or you want to start a career in construction. They will also help you get a job when you finish school, when you're done with high school. They can help place you in a construction apprenticeship or a trade apprenticeship. Any other questions? Liz.
Amanda, I always have to add, oftentimes there's a great opportunity, but it's in York and I live in Presque Isle. What do I do?
Talk to your VR counselor if you're a client of vocational rehab, and we can help. If you're training, if you have a 3-week training that's in out of your town, out of your area, we may be able to assist you with setting you up in a hotel or a dorm or something like that for that training period, so that you can get your certification, you can get the skills that you need, the training that you need for the job that you want. That doesn't mean that that's where you have to work. So you may be able to find an apprenticeship opportunity closer to your area once you've completed your training in Portland or wherever it is. We can also help with transportation for job tours, just so you can check out the occupation. Even if that company is too far away from you, you can still learn about the industry by attending these tours, even if they're out of your area. So always ask about transportation options because we may be able to help. Any other questions? Well, I hope that was helpful to all of you. We will have the slides available, and all the links as well are embedded. And this is being recorded so you can view it again, or you can share that as well. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.